to the Love Sessions. I'm Nori Love, and I am here with my amazing, beautiful, fantastic co-host, Lily Rodriguez. Hi, Lil.
Hi, beautiful, amazing, gorgeous, fantastic, sparkly Nori Love.
Hey, I love Sparkly. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Isn't that fun? That's so much fun.
It is. It is.
How's it going? The energies are really interesting right now.
Oh gosh, they are, right?
Yeah.
They're they're kind of fun, but um yeah, interesting is a good word.
Mm. Yeah. It's been really busy in like the coaching and healing arena for people that need to talk like now. Like people need to talk now. There's been like an uptick in that, and that's when I actually start to and really educate myself on what's going on with the planetary energies at that time. When I see that trend coming up, I'm like, yeah, something's influencing this. So it's been busy. How about you?
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. Because yeah, I have noticed an uptick on people venting a
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
um, or maybe just being more honest.
I like that.
Yeah, 'cause, maybe not necessarily venting is great, and I'm totally a fan of venting, but sometimes just being honest about how you're feeling in the moment, about what's going on, can kind of feel like you have to label it like, oh, I'm just venting, because that's not who you really are, you know?
Like it's not okay to be angry.
Right, right, something like that. Especially if you're viewed as someone who is in the, and I'm doing air quotes here,
Right.
positivity field, in the
Yes.
spiritual, being positive and love and light kind of
Right.
realm, and supporting people in that way. Like, oh, wait, you're
That's
you're allowed to be angry? Like, no.
that's true. That is
Yeah.
so true. And it was interesting along the way, and you can tell me if you experienced this where, in on the path of growth, from when we first started to choose this gift that we have to expand it, um, we were helping people like every segment of time up until now. And during that whole pathway to where we are now, there were a lot of growth spurts for us too. And I'm kind of surprised at the people that have actually been kind of judgmental. Instead of going, oh, well, she's a coach, she helps other people, she's in the spiritual community, but she just doesn't even have it together right there, and I was really kind of surprised of from that behavior in the people that I encountered it in, like I never really expected them to be so judgy.
Wow.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
we're growing along the way too.
Yeah. And I think that there's a misconception there
Hmm.
that because this is what we do, we coach people to another level to feel better, to approach their lives better, specifically here in the love sessions, to treat themselves better, that, like you said, oh, we have it all together all of the time. And no,
No.
and that's no, absolutely not. And I've seen those memes. I'm sure people have seen them. I've shared a couple of them sometimes myself, where there's that thing where, what people think spiritual growth is. And it's like somebody like floating on a mountain in sort of the lotus position. And then what it really is like
Yeah,
someone beat up,
yeah.
kind of dragging their
Hair on
leg,
fire.
hair.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because yes, folks, that's what it really is. Getting on a path of self-care and spiritual growth and all of that. it ain't easy. It's not for the faint of heart. It's
It-
not a cakewalk
It's so
here.
true. That is so true. That's so great. I love the way you said that. But
Yeah.
it was interesting because you we were talking about forgiveness before we started.
Mm.
And some of those people who did that big judgment thing on me, I didn't know if I could forgive them. Um, what do you think about forgiveness, though?
Mm. Yeah. Um, that's another big thing. Uh, and I do a whole thing on forgiveness and apologizing and things like that, especially apologizing to ourselves.
Mm,
But forgiveness is something that almost gets pushed on people now. You have to forgive. You forgive for yourself. You forgive so that you can let go and be happy and feel better. And yes, that may be true for certain people,
hmm.
and that's wonderful. If that works for you, that's wonderful. And certainly we encourage and support that and will help people get there if that's where they want to go.
Right.
But if you're okay being in a place where, you know what, I don't really feel like forgiving that person, or I don't really feel like forgiving that group of people that you know treated me that way and are now a part of my past. I don't really need to forgive them to move on with my life and be happy. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, not forgiving makes me stronger, makes me more
Wow.
aware of how to take care of myself and how to keep my boundaries strong and really how to love myself. Then,
Exactly.
you know what? I'm going to support you in that too,
Yes.
because that's okay also.
Yes. Yes. That's so powerful. Not to forgive makes me stronger. That's awesome, Lily. I love that. I love that because we are very conditioned, by our peers, that, oh, you must forgive and you must let go in order to ascend the vibration. But here's what I'm thinking on a really kind of logical level, forgiveness or not forgiveness is energy.
Yes.
So the forgiveness, the energy of non-forgiveness that we may be experiencing, everybody thinks that the minute we say, I forgive the other person, that energy is going to move. If you don't really mean it, it's still going to be there. So why even bother, feigning or forcing yourself to remove that forgiveness, that non-forgiveness energy in a way that it's not going to work? Instead, we have to figure out how to shift that energy within ourselves so that it makes it right for us. It's not about them or, forgiving them or pleasing them. It's about owning that energy that made you choose. No, I don't want to forgive them. And then finding a way to shift it so it doesn't get in your way, as you go forward.
Ooh, right. I love that. What you're saying about getting in your way, that is so fantastic and so powerful because listen here, folks, how many times have you, ourselves, gotten stuck thinking, oh, I have to forgive
Mhm.
this person or that group of people or whatever so that I can move on with my life. And now you're stuck in trying to forgive, and maybe you're doing all this work and
Right.
you're journaling and you're meditating and you're working with someone and you're therapy and just trying to get to the point of forgiving. So now you're kind of beating yourself up and you're sort of judging yourself and putting yourself down because somehow there's something wrong with you
Right.
because you can't forgive and move on. Well, here's the thing: if you just move on,
Yes.
don't even think about, do I have to forgive? Do I not? Like, take the whole word out
Right.
of the scenario and just go on
Right.
with your life. Guess
Yes.
what may or may not happen? One day you may realize, oh, it happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't even notice when it did.
Exactly. Or yes, yes, yes. That energy just got shifted over time. Yeah. Interesting. So what comes to mind is I was listening this morning to Mary Morrissey, who I never listened to. And she's really interesting. I'm surprised I haven't listened to her before now. And she was talking about all of the things that we do to ourselves, all of the stuff that we put on ourselves, the grief, the shame, I'm not being a good girl. Like she got pregnant when she was in high school and was traumatized from people, not from being pregnant. Um, and she had gotten to the point where she was in kidney failure and one of her kidneys completely shut down. And the spiritual person of the hospital who was visiting her, because this was back in the day that dialysis may not even have been available yet.
Mm.
So kidney transplant wasn't even thought of. And this spiritual person came and said to her, "Can you take all of what you have put on yourself, the shame, right? The toxic shame that you have, and the guilt and feeling like you don't belong and feeling like you're not good enough because you got pregnant, or whatever reason." She just laid out like all of the heavy burdens that she was putting on herself. She said, "And put it on that kidney that they're going to take out." And
Mm.
when the kidney's taken out, all of that is taken out and not part of your life anymore. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could just do that with our thoughts? We don't necessarily need to have our kidney taken out. And my point of this whole thing is if we've got the energy of non-forgiveness in us and we haven't equalized to the point where we believe, yeah, I really deserve to feel the way that I feel, we could imagine floating that dis-ease, right? That heavy energy, just floating it out on a balloon and, having it go away. And then let time take its course. If it's going to, alert you at some point in time that, oh, look how much better you feel. You must have really, really let it go. What do you think about that as a tool?
That's fantastic.
I don't know how I got on that rant,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
sorry.
Well, yeah, when you were talking about how it all came together, it all went around into the kidney that had to be removed, like, oh, wow. And yeah, we can do things like that without it having to be to the extreme of surgery, but just letting things sort of be. Just let it's there and it has to something has to happen to it.
I see what
I
you're
don't
saying.
have to do it right now. I
Right,
don't have to force myself to make that better
right,
right now. All
right,
I have to do is take care of myself.
right,
I just
right.
have to feel better in my day. Really like a lot of us just say, you know what, I just got to get through today. And that's fine.
Exactly,
Start there.
exactly.
I just got to get through
Hmm.
today. Start there. And I just have to get through today the best way possible. Take care
Hmm.
of myself the best way possible. Do things the way that they will make me feel the best way possible, little by little, step by step, like taking it easier on myself. Do I really need to do that thing today? No, I don't.
Mm.
Do I really need to um deal with that person today? No, I don't. Do I
Yeah.
really need to um you know journal about this stuff that's making me feel bad today? No, I don't. You know what?
Mhm.
I'm going to journal about something else. I'm going to write a poem about a bird, or I'm not going to journal at all. I'm just going to doodle, whatever. Just let that thing be over there. As long as it's not like,
Mhm.
weighing you down and causing you to
Right,
to act out against other
right,
people or against yourself, just
right.
leave it alone. Leave it over there because somehow,
Mhm.
at some point, it will stop being important.
True.
And that's when you realize, oh, I let go. I moved on.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter if I forgive or not. Maybe I
right,
do. Maybe I don't. Do I even need to think about it? No.
right, right, Right. That's really, I see what you're saying now. Yes. To just be with it. To just be, as long as you're not one of those people who overthink everything like me, who
Mhm.
would be up at 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to figure out if non-forgiveness is really okay. This was before I loved
Right.
myself this much, right? Um, as long as you're not one of those people, I love it, Lil. I love it. And there's so much growth that happens behind the scene of taking the time to just be with it. And in the corner of your mind, it's there, but the process that you go through with it coexisting, peacefully with you, there's so much that you learn with that sitting there.
Yeah. And, and one interesting thing I just said, I love what you said, how in the corner of your mind it's there. Sometimes it is with some things and some people. And I wonder sometimes, is it really, or is it the sort of the stone of thinking, oh, I have to let this go and I have to forgive this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the thing or the person just aren't really that important. And you
So
don't
true.
really even need to spend time or energy on it. It's just like, oh yeah, that happened. You
So
know,
true.
mm, I'm over here doing something else now. But if you're stuck in that, like, oh, I have to forgive them so that I can be a good person. Now it's that you're giving attention to it. You're like
Mm,
making that thing, that nasty thing grow where
yeah,
maybe it wasn't even there to begin with. Like,
right.
or you could just like, yeah, like, yeah, that it's really, listen, folks, some things and some people are just not that important to us. They're just not that important to your life.
It's so amazing when we have that jolt, of somebody judging us or somebody leaving us or, whatever that is. And initially you have the normal reaction, well, not the normal, the habituated reaction you're going to have. And then, like you said, Lil, a little bit of time goes on and it hasn't been that long. And you're like, I don't even miss that, you know?
Mhm.
And I put so much energy into the thought of that relationship. And then when it was over, it was like, oh, okay, I'm good. You know?
Yeah, yeah. And look, if someone is judging us for not forgiving,
Mhm.
Um, you know what? Maybe I don't need you in your judgment either.
Exactly. If it doesn't,
Or I can just, smile and nod, like, oh, okay, that's something that you think
that's
is
right.
needed.
That's right.
You know.
That's right. Isn't it so funny? And this, I just was like pondering this the other day. Isn't it so funny how people are so entrenched often in their story, in their life, that suddenly they think that they're the uh, everyday United States, or world example of the way that things should go, you know? Like,
Mhm.
there's this elderly lady that I get to talk to, and you have to eat breakfast in the morning, you have to eat lunch in lunchtime, dinner at dinner. And somebody said to her, do you understand that it doesn't have to be done that way? And that there's like millions of people who don't eat that way. And she was shocked. And now, granted, she's in her 80s, so wisdom and endurance, but she was shocked. And then I began to spread that view out, and I'm going, isn't that funny? Don't you have that Diet Coke because don't you know what's in it? I only drink real soda. People like that,
Yeah.
like all of a sudden their behavior is the gold standard of how you should act too. I know I'm going down a side road today, Lil. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, man, that's fascinating. That sounds like a whole other um
Yeah.
love sessions, because
Yeah.
there's so much we can say there. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's so much I could say.
Well, let's put that on our list. And I really enjoyed this conversation today, Lily. Thank you.
Me too. Me too. And yes, let's definitely put that one on our list. So,
Yeah.
yes, let's invite the listeners to join us maybe next time when we do talk about those people who want to inflict their way of being on us and how to deal with that, because that's fascinating. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below anything that we said that might have struck a note with you, or something you want to share, or something you want to hear us talk about. And I guess we'll see you next time.
See you next time, Lil. Thank you.
Love you, Nori.
Love you too.